Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session of Covidence 101. I will give you some information and resources to get your review project up and running for maximum efficiency on Covidence. We'll also provide a live demo of the Covidence platform and an overview of the systematic review workflow and how to use the platform for your review project. I will be the session presenter today. My name is Olympia Green-Lachlan, and I am a community manager here at Covidence, and I am based in the US. I'm also joined by my colleague, Stephanie Hawkins, also one of our community managers based in the US, and Gita Iskandarani, who is also a community manager at Covidence, where she is based in the UK. Some housekeeping before we begin today's session. Today's session is run in standard webinar mode. All webinar attendees will be muted. You can ask questions at any time. Please enter those into the questions box, which you will be able to see on the right-hand side of your screen. We will complete the entire demo first and then address questions at the end. If we do not have time to answer all the questions before the session ends, we will respond directly to people via email afterwards. You will also receive a recording of this webinar by email afterwards. In addition to what we will be covering today, we also have a lot of other support resources, such as video tutorials and helpful articles on our knowledge base. You can also email me and the rest of the community management team at any time using the email address support@covidence.org. Before we jump in, I'm going to give you a little bit of contextual information about Covidence for anyone who is here that has not already used the platform. Covidence was created by and for the research community and is designed to streamline the review process from title and abstract screening through to extraction and risk of bias. Platform allows our review teams to significantly reduce the amount of time spent on reviews, meaning that people can produce evidence faster. We have a full-time team based around the world, continuously working on improving the product and providing technical support to our global user community. Platform is entirely cloud-based, nothing to download, and we support the world's largest review community with over 300,000 users around the globe. So let's go ahead and begin the presentation. Now, the way most people join Covidence is via an invitation similar to this one. This particular invitation is to join an organizational account. But if you receive an invitation to join a review, it will look very similar to this. Once you click on the accept invitation, you will be taken to the main landing page for Covidence, where you can either sign in or create an individual user account. You can also do that here on the main page by clicking the free trial button. Here is the sign up form, as you can see, where you will provide some information about yourself. Then go ahead and create an account. If you are going to be joining Covidence to access an organizational account, such as a university account, then we do recommend that you use your university email when creating this account, as this will make it easier to affiliate with your organizational account once you've completed the process of setting up an individual user account. So once you sign into your account, this is the first page you'll be taken to. This is the main dashboard for all of the reviews that you're working on. You'll see that these reviews are listed separately, depending on whether I set them up in my personal account or under an organizational account. You'll also see any organizational memberships listed under the main menu, When hovering over your initials, your name at the right top hand here, as you can see. Okay. If your individual user account is a free trial, you have access to create one trial review for free. You can create this review by clicking on this button here. It will first ask you if you are creating a Cochrane review. If you are, you'll be prompted to sign in using your Cochrane credentials, as you can see here. And if not, you can create a standard review here using a unique title and choose to link it to either your personal account or an institutional account. If you're linked to an organizational account, that will appear here. Even after you have used your free trial, you can still create an unlimited number of reviews that will be affiliated with your organizational account. Also, if you accidentally create a review under your free trial account when you wanted it under your organizational subscription, just drop us a line and we can switch it over for you. So I will now go back into the review that I'm a member of. So the first page you see when you enter a review here is the review summary page. This is for a review that is already in progress. But when you set up a new review, what you will see is this standard review project framework, which is automatically generated when you create a new review in Covidence. This page shows the three main steps in any Covidence review, which are the title and abstract screening, full text review, and extraction, as well as information about importing references. Those steps are set up in every review as soon as it is open in Covidence. You do not need to set them up and cannot be deleted, and they cannot be modified. So this is very much a streamlined process. I'm going to now go through the major sections of the review framework, starting with settings, next to import, and the three stages from screening, from title and abstract, moving on to full text screening, and finally finishing with data extraction. Next, I will show you our new Extraction 2 framework and how to export your data. Last, we will look at the PRISMA flowchart. To begin, we're going to look at the settings. So when you set a review, it is a good idea to come here and take a look at the settings of your review and set them as you like. As you can see, there are 5 sections here. Under the review settings, you can provide the name of your review and choose to edit when necessary. So it's not fixed in stone. You can go ahead and edit this title if you like. For reviews being completed in the medical health sciences area, you can now enable the RCT classifier tagging functionality via the settings page. Now, when enabled, studies imported to the review will run through the Cochrane RCT classifier and will get tagged with either possible RCT or not an RCT. The RCT classifier algorithm provides you with a prediction on whether studies in your review potentially report on RCT. You'll be able to see this feature in more detail when we talk about the title and abstract screening section. You can also now update the type of review and area of research settings, research via the settings page. So as I just displayed there, you can also add the date of the last search that was done, as well as the search strategy. You can also add the review citation if updating a previously published piece of work. And here You can also select how the review is going to function and decide on how many reviewers are required to screen. The default is dual screening. That's for both the title and abstract, as well as the full text. That means that 2 reviewers need to cast a vote on a reference for it to move forward in the review. Each reference can not receive more than 2 votes. So if your team is bigger than 2 people, not everyone will get to screen every reference. So you can either keep it as is, or you can change it to 1 reviewer required to screen. Now, I'd recommend that you decide on this before you start. If you change from dual to single reviewer mode, it will move forward all the studies with 1 vote. And reverting to dual reviewer mode will not move them back. You can move them back individually, but that can be time consuming. So it's best to give this some thought before you start screening. Here, you'll now see the option in the review settings to choose whether you want to use extraction 2 or extraction 1. Now, by default, extraction 2 will be selected. It's the difference. Extraction 1 is better suited for intervention reviews, including Cochrane reviews, whereas extraction 2 is recommended for everything else, including qualitative and scoping reviews. That's essentially because 2 is much more flexible a tool. Another major difference is that you must have 2 reviewers to perform data extraction in 1.0. But in 2.0, you can choose between single or dual reviewer action. As you can see here. Now you can try out both versions to see what's going to work for your project and switch between the 2 here if you've already started work. You won't lose any data by doing this. Please note that the work started in one format will not transfer to the other. So if I decided to use extraction 1.0, we'll be prompted with this message. And it will tell you if your team has started working on this template, all your progress will not be transferred to the other template. However, it will stay in this template if you change your mind. And you would prompt it, are you sure you want to proceed? So you won't lose that data. So let's go back to the default. So that's what's good about extraction 2.0. Scrolling back up to the top, the next tab is the reviewers tab. Let me go back for just a second. Great. Here, you can invite and remove as many reviewers from here if you need to. You can also invite an unlimited number of reviewers to your work on your review if you have a paid subscription or your review is part of an organizational account. You can also see any invites that are pending and the expired or declined invites as well. Next is the team settings. So this gives you an overview of the overall progress of every stage of the review. You'll recognize this progress bar from the review summary page, but what you can also see here is the individual contributions of each reviewer. So you can keep an eye on how much screening each person has done and how much screening is left to do. You also have the ability to set the rules here. If, for example, you're the lead reviewer and you'd like to screen everything, you can put your name here. You can also decide if you want only certain people, maybe a senior colleague, to resolve the conflicts. You can also add their names here. So this is a section to set the rules. For the full text review section, it looks quite similar. You've got the same progress bar at the top and the same for the contributions of the reviewers. The rules are the same, so you can make any adjustments as necessary. For the extraction section, you've got the team progress bar, but at the moment, there are no options for rules. Okay, so the next tab is the criteria and exclusion reasons. So here you can add from your protocol, your inclusion and exclusion criteria, and then reviewers have the option to see that when they are screening. I'll show you this in a bit. So this is information from your protocol, and that can be managed here. You can also manage your exclusion reasons for full text. So when you're doing the full text review, you're required to give a reason for exclusion, so you can add that here and delete as necessary. Another feature is being able to manage the highlights in both the title and abstract and full text review. These are the keywords that appear in either green if they're inclusion keywords, or red if they're exclusion keywords. Now, Covidence also auto highlights key phrases in the title and abstract stage. For example, if you set the key phrase to common cold, all instances of common cold would be highlighted. Inclusion key phrases are also highlighted in green. Exclusion key phrases are highlighted in red. Finally, you can edit the study tags. There are two that are pre-programmed in Covidence. Those are the ongoing and awaiting classification. These are system tags, and they're used in the PRISMA chart that we'll look at later. So you cannot delete these, okay? But you can add as many tags as you like and delete them here as well. Now I'm going to take you back to the main dashboard, and we'll show you the import. This is the first stage you will be using in Covidence in your review process. So after finalizing your protocol, designing your search strategy, and running your search, you've obtained your citations, then you would need to import them into Covidence. To import them, you'll come here and click on the import button. Covidence currently supports 3 formats for file imports: in Note XML format, PubMed text format, and RIS format. Here, you can select the category, which is the stage or step of the review process that the reference will appear in. So if you're starting from the beginning of your review and you have not done any screening outside of Covidence, select Screen to import them all in the title and abstract screening section. Okay. But if you have done the title and abstract screening outside of Covidence, you also have the option to put them into the full text review section, or directly into included, excluded, or irrelevant, which is the list of studies that have been excluded at title and abstract screening. You choose the locally saved file from your computer and then click import. So we go ahead and demonstrate that. And as you can see, citations are uploading and the import is in progress. Okay, so once it's loaded, you will see that it's complete. So it's going to take a little while. So I'll go back. Okay, let's take a look. It's also possible to view the import history. So this will show you the date that they were imported. So you can see that this one is in progress currently, date that it was imported, and the number of references that were added. Okay, and the number of duplicates. Covidence now saves and displays imported file names The file name now displays above the imported details. So this was downloaded from another study. So let's go here where we make the announcements for the latest changes and provide you with more details here. I'm a little slow here today. Please bear with me. Okay, here you can see that this citation, this import was downloaded from Embase, this database. So this is one of our newest features. The example shows how you might use this to keep track of when your search was conducted and or keep track of which databases were used. It is impossible to undo an import if you have not already started screening. So this is something to be aware of. If you've started screening, you'll just need to write into us and we can reset the review for you. Upon import, Covidence automatically deduplicates references against all studies within the import and against any previous imports in that review. You can check this by clicking on the Check Duplicates button. If you mark the reference not a duplicate, this returns the reference to your screening list. You can also now manually mark duplicates, and I will talk about that in the next section, but if you want to check this list, you can do so by clicking on the manually marked duplicates list. Now this will automatically remove it from the screening list. It will report it as a duplicate within the PRISMA diagram. It will exclude it from the inter-rater reliability report if a vote has already been cast on the reference. And last, it will show who marked the reference as a duplicate. We also have a document here if you need to check how the process of deduplication works. The deduplication is very strict in Covidence. Rarely takes things out by mistake, but it will miss some sometimes. So it's more specific than it is sensitive. The reviewers do all their deduping in Covidence, some reviewers, and others prefer to do a pre-check in reference managers such as EndNote before importing them into Covidence. Keep in mind, you can import an unlimited number of references. There is a file size limit per batch of about 15,000 references or 50 megabytes, but you can import as many batches as necessary to meet the requirements of the review. Now, let's take you back to the review summary page. We're back at the review summary page. Look at the title and abstract screening. As you can see, on the left side, you have the team progress bar that we have also seen in the team settings. Now, the dark green shows those studies that had 2 votes. The pale light green shows the references with only 1 vote, whereas the purple are conflicts. And the gray ones are those waiting to cast votes. So no votes have been cast thus far here. Now, the left-hand side is going to be exactly the same for every reviewer logging into the review. It will give you an overview regarding the status of your project. Okay, so this is the team's progress. The right-hand side provides you the number here. It's going to depend on how much screening each reviewer has done. So this is specific to me. This will be specific to you. This is the team's progress. Let's go ahead and click here. Now, when I click continue, this is how your screen list looks. Okay. At this point, you are making decisions based on being able to see this title and abstract information. You can see some of the features that we have discussed earlier. See the highlights here. You can choose to hide or show your abstracts if you like. Okay, you can choose to show or hide highlights, so the red keywords, as you can see here. key phrases will show. Your exclusion criteria, and the green ones will show the inclusion criteria. You can also choose to show your inclusion and exclusion criteria to confirm your decision-making while screening. So we see that once again. Now, at this point, you will be making decisions based on a no, maybe, or yes, based on your inclusion and exclusion criteria. So when you click on the relevant button, as I've just presented, and that reference will disappear from your screening list. It will remain in your review, but it will move into different places depending on how you voted. If you are working in dual reviewer mode and you are the first person to vote, it will move to the awaiting other reviewers list. Now, anything you can see on this list, keep in mind, it's unique to you. It will contain the references that you have voted on and no one else has yet. You can change your vote on this list. Once anyone else has voted on these references, it will immediately be moved off this list. They will be moved into other sections of your review, depending on how you and your co-reviewer have voted. Now, if you both voted no, the reference will move here into the relevant list. So these are two no's. If you have both voted yes or maybe, then the reference will move to the full text stage screening. And if you have voted in conflict with one another, which means one of you have voted no, and the other has voted yes or maybe, it will be moved to the resolve conflict. So if a reference goes into conflict, you can see who voted, but now not how they voted. Okay, you can see this because all the screening will remain blinded at this stage. If you have the right to resolve conflicts in review settings, here you will see another set of yes, no, and maybe buttons on this reference, and you will then review this information and follow any conflict resolution your team and yourself have agreed upon. This may be consulting with the two people who have voted on this reference or not. It all depends on how the team has set up this process. Last, you will go ahead and this conflict. Now, among our newest features is introducing machine learning, also known as active learning, to help move studies through to full text review sooner. The screening title and abstract. Teams now have access to a new sort option, most relevant, as you can see here. This sort option uses machine learning to identify trends in past screening behavior on the review to determine and display the studies that are most likely to be included first. More studies screened, the stronger the system's prediction will be. Now, one thing to point out is tagging. You can see it's grayed out at the moment, but if I were to select a study, here you can see the tag button here appears. And so I can add as many tags as I need to for this study. Okay, once I've done that, I can filter by tags. And as you can see, all of those that have been tagged with the filter that I've just that I selected will appear. You can also remove the tags, but this has to be done individually. The filter box can also be used as a search. You can type in a keyword here and search for it within either the author field, the title, or abstract, or everything within the title and abstract section. You also have the ability to add notes here. So we can go ahead and add a note here. Okay, you can edit as well. You can also delete it. Here, I need to mention that all the tags and notes are visible for all reviewers. So keep in mind, this is not blinded, just something to be aware of if you're adding those to your screening. Also, all tags and notes added to a specific reference in the title and abstract screening section remain visible on this reference after it's moved into any other sections of the review. As previously indicated, you can now manually mark duplicates in Covidence, and this will add the manually marked duplicates list in the check duplicates page in the import section. So just a repeat of that. We've also recently aligned the desktop version to our mobile version, and it's now possible to undo a vote within title and abstract. You can quickly undo your vote if you have made a mistake and easily recast your vote using this feature, as you can see. Okay. And keeping in mind, if you're in dual reviewer mode, if the second person has not voted and you need to go back, you can also make that change here by going to your awaiting other reviewers list. So the next stage you go to after your title and abstract screening is the full text review. Studies move automatically through the review process as they are voted on. If it's agreed at title and abstract, then they will appear here at the full text stage of the review. Once again, the team progress bar is the same as title and abstract stage in terms of color coding and how you see it. The left-hand side remains the same for all reviewers. And on the right-hand side, you can see how many you still need to screen. So the first main difference between title and abstract and full text review is that there are now only two voting options. You'll see include or to exclude. There is no maybe. The second difference is that if I vote to exclude, I'm prompted to give a reason. This is the list of reasons that we saw in settings. Here I can also edit this list, just as I was able to do in settings. Filtering, tagging, and other features are similar to the title and abstract screening section. I will also show you the two types of conflicts that come up at full text, as I do have permission here to resolve the conflicts. Number one, reviewers agree to exclude, but for different reasons. This is what you will see if it's for, they both decided to exclude, but for different reasons. Whereas the other conflict that you will see is reviewers do not agree on the inclusion and exclusion. Okay. Also, the other main difference is that I can attach full text PDFs to the studies. Okay. So you can see here where Annalise uploaded a full text PDF right here. Here, there's no PDF uploaded. Now, keep in mind, if the article is open access, Covidence now will retrieve the PDF automatically when the study moves into full text. You can identify if a study has had an open access article uploaded by the sentence under the title. So it would read full text uploaded by Covidence open access. Okay, so that's one of another feature here. For articles where no PDF is added automatically, there are a few options. One, you can individually upload either by selecting a locally saved PDF file or by using the new drag and drop feature. So let's see here. You can use the drag and drop the PDF directly onto the full text screening. Also, once you attach a PDF manually, the system will show you who uploaded the PDF as I showed you previously. So if I chose to select it from a desktop, As you can see, the article has been uploaded. You can choose to link it with a link as well. Okay, so there are 3 options here. As you can see, it has been fully uploaded. And you have the option to remove it as well. Okay. Next, the bulk PDF upload tool has also been redesigned, and it's now more streamlined and easier to use. Let's go. Okay, so what's new? It's faster. Covidence now exports a list of only the studies that are missing in full text. This saves time because the review teams no longer need to compile this list themselves. The design is clearer and more intuitive. The workflow is split into stages, as you can see here. And user guides are available with step-by-step instructions for different reference managers. So these are the 2 reference managers that are compatible with Covidence, both EndNote and Zotero. So these are guides that provide you with details. Now, I won't go into that process in detail here because it does take quite a long time, but we do have detailed instructions for this on our knowledge base. And we will soon be running a webinar on the new bulk PDF feature, so stay tuned. This will be announced to our user community. So here are step-by-step instructions. Okay. Let's see, I want to view abstracts. You can follow the live DOI link to the source if it's in a journal that your institution has a subscription to. You could access it using your university's credentials and save it for individual upload. So let's see, find one that has here there's a DOI link attached to this abstract. So if you were to click this, if a DOI link is available, you're able to access that PDF here as well. So keep in mind there are different options available. Also, a few more things on full text that have been recently added. You now have the option to view or hide your abstracts for all studies in full text screening. Previously, this option was only available at the title and abstract stage of screening. Now, the last stage of screening is data extraction. So let's go back here. Now, typically, you'll have a much smaller set of references here than in the previous stages. What we're looking at is Covidence Extraction 2.0. Once again, Extraction 2.0 is much more flexible and intuitive and can accommodate any type of review, from an intervention review as well as qualitative and scoping reviews. As I said earlier, you can change between Extraction 1 and 2 in settings and have a play around and see which version best suits your needs. You won't lose any data by doing this, but any data in Extraction 1 will not be available in 2, vice versa, because they are separate forms. So keep that in mind. The data extraction and quality assessment templates are available as 2 separate parts of the process, rather than being linked to a specific reference as it is in Extraction 1.0. So that's one of the newest features as well. So essentially, you can set up your data extraction template or your quality assessment template, or both, as soon as you start working on your review. You do not have to have studies moved into the extraction section. The template itself is a much more customizable and adaptable framework. Studies are on the left, extraction status is on the right. So you'll see what you've extracted or in the process of extracting, whether someone else is extracting, and so on. You can also go to these tabs here to see the list divided up, those that are included total, those that have not started, those that are in progress, and those requiring consensus. There is a separate template creations and extraction 2.0, as I mentioned earlier. You won't be able to start data extraction until you have created and published your template. Now, the first time you log into this review, these two buttons, they will be blue, okay? They will be blue. And this indicates that you need to set up the form. They've turned white once they've been published. And as you can see that they're white because I've already published these templates. So I'll go to the data extraction template first. Let's open that up. Here you'll see a template that is built into the system. It's a basic template. However, it's completely customizable, okay? You can build on this. Okay, you can build on it, or you can start from scratch, your own template. You'll see a preview on the right of how the form will look for reviewers. Okay, move this down. You can edit section headings by just typing straight onto them. So let's say if I wanted to change this now, as you can see, the edits are visible in the preview and as you're doing the edits right here, okay? You can add items beneath by clicking on the plus symbol. So let's go ahead and do that. You can add a text field, as you can see, a heading, subheading, single choice, checkbox list, a multiple choice list, or table. And you can reorder them as necessary, so it's not fixed. You're able to add any additional instructions here, the item setting sections for your reviewers. You can edit this template as many times as you like, and you can do that before and after you've started on the extraction. Any sections you add will be applied to the form for all the references. If you remove any sections from the form, this will also delete the extracted data for those sections. And once you finalized or made changes to your data extraction form, you can click Publish. This makes it available to the other reviewers on your team. You'll get just a warning if any studies have been completed or in progress to let you know that updating the template will apply the changes to them as well. But I'm not going to go ahead and save these changes, so you will be prompted. If you republish it once it has been published, your team will have to return to all completed and in progress studies to extract any new or edited items from this template and reach consensus again. So you will get this warning before proceeding. Let's go back. Now, the quality assessment template is automatically pre-populated by the Cochrane Risk of Bias 2 version 1. But once again, you can start from scratch and adapt your own and choose to use this template, add any additional quality assessment ratings or judgments, or even choose to change the domain. You can then save and publish a template in the same way that I've just shown in data extraction. So let's say if I wanted to move, I can toggle back and forth, as you can see. I can change information in the domains, and you can see that in the preview section here as well. I can add a new domain. I can duplicate the domain. Okay, so it's not fixed. When you've set up one or both of your templates to your satisfaction, this blue button, so let me go back. This blue button saying begin extraction will appear on any study in your extraction section. You can click it and begin filling in your custom framework. Here you will be able to see the PDF on the left form, and on the right, you can toggle between data extraction and the quality assessment forms. Once you've completed that, you can either save if you need to come back later, or send it for consensus. So once you've decided that you're ready to make your completed form available to your co-reviewers for resolving consensus, it will say begin consensus. So let's go back. So begin consensus. Okay, now there are 3 columns, one for the final decision, one for reviewer 1 and 2, where the answers for reviewers 1 and 2 are exactly the same. The final decision column is automatically populated. Where there is a discrepancy, it will be highlighted in purple, as you can see here. I can select which data I want to save as the final data, just by clicking on that, or I can type in my own answer and I can completely override any answers that have been added. When that's all done, I can click complete and I'll be ready to export the data. Okay, so that was extraction 2 in dual reviewer mode. There is also the option now in extraction 2 to do a single reviewer extraction, and you will go to settings to manage this, of course. There is no consensus stage in single reviewer mode. However, you will be prompted to check your data before you finalize it. Let's go back. You can also filter by tags here on the right-hand side and add tags to each study as well. You can also merge studies here. So if you select more than one reference, you'll get the option to merge studies if they're companion papers. So let's say if I wanted to merge these, I'll select the studies. The system prompts me to set which one as the primary study ID, and we'll do the first one. And as you can see, the 2 references have now been merged, and this is the new study ID. Okay, we've recently just added a new feature allowing users to unmerge their own studies. So here, if I decided, hey, well, I didn't want to do that, I can go ahead and merge. Once again, you will be prompted. Unmerging will return all studies back to the state that they were in before they merged. This includes restoring any extracted data. Are you sure you would like to unmerge? So let's go ahead and do that. And as you can see, they're single references once again. Now, if you are a reviewer and have started data extraction or consensus, now you can reassign the study to someone else in your review team. Sometimes review team members leave, and this assignment needs to be appointed to someone else. So this can be done by selecting Manage Reviewer Options. So let's say if I wanted to reassign Nicola to Nancy, I would get the option here. You can either choose to preserve the extraction data or clear the extraction data. So if you want to start from scratch, you can do that, or maintain what was done previously. If you're doing a Cochrane review, you can continue to use extraction 1.0 for the time being, as the structure it follows aligns better with the information needed. And just to add, we're continuing to add updates and improve usability, and we welcome your thoughts to help us prioritize what's most important to you. So let's go back to the review summary page. Here you can export various data from your review. You can export list of references at any stage of your review and in any format, as you can see here by using the drop-down menu. The CSV option will export all of your tags and notes. It will also export the reasons for exclusions when exporting your excluded studies. Support your full text retrieval process. You can now export which studies are missing full text. So this is one of our newest features here. Okay. You can also export CAPA scores for inter-rater reliability information from both the title and abstract and full text review, as this will export as a CSV as well. You can also export a CSV file of the data that has been gathered during the data extraction process. Also, once you've completed extracting your data and reached consensus, you have several options for the data you want to export. The default is consensus only data, but you can see that there are several other options listed here. And usually when extracting, if you were in extraction 1.0 or doing a Cochrane review, you will see a built-in pathway for exporting information in a format that is compatible with Cochrane's Review Manager software, so you can export a file that can be directly imported into RefMate. Finally, I will show you the PRISMA flowchart workflow that will be automatically pre-populated with the information on your references. Clicking here. Numbers will be updated once references get to certain points and complete their pathway along the review. You can see that there is also a breakdown of the reasons for exclusions. You can export raw data by going here that you can adjust as necessary and populate it to your own PRISMA chart. The ongoing and awaiting classification tags that we saw earlier will appear here as well. You can then export the raw data that you can adjust as necessary and populate it into your own PRISMA chart. I just want to mention that our knowledge base is a very comprehensive guide to using Covidence. So let's go back. Okay. It covers every aspect of the system, and there are lots of videos and articles here. So this is a very good place to start. The other thing that you can see is a demo review. Okay, so you can use the Need Help button to access any knowledge base articles here. You can send us an email with a direct question, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. I'll go back to the dashboard. Located on the dashboard of your account, you can see a demo review here. This gives you a pre-populated review with all the functionality of Covidence, so you can have a play around, and it resets regularly. So if you still have questions, you can always contact the community team at any time at support@covidence.org. So that completes the overview of a review project in Covidence. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them down in the chat box, and we will answer as many as we can. I will hand it over now to my colleague, Gita Iskandarande and Stephanie Hawkins.
Thank you, Belinda. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was great. Stephen and I actually received a few questions while you were presenting, and we've actually answered all of them at the moment. So if you have any more questions, please feel free to write them down in the chat box. We still have a few more minutes. We can cover these. And if you still have probably questions, maybe after the session, you can always contact us at support@covidence.org, where myself and my colleagues, Linda and Stephanie, and the rest of the community management team can answer your questions as well. I received a question. Where can you see the answers to the questions? We usually have that in the backlog once we finish a webinar. If you'd like to see any of the answers to your questions, or if you already have any more questions to your, if you'd like more answers to your questions, please let me know. If not, we can always as well email you. Please let us know if there's actually any specific question that wasn't answered, or if you would like the answers to be sent to you as well through email. Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that. So, okay, I'm gonna go through your questions now. So, there was a question about, can you add customized tags? Stephanie, I think these questions, you've went through them. Can you please answer the question about the customized tags and the allocation of references to different reviewers?
Yes. So you can add customized tags by selecting the study you'd like to tag, tick that box, and then you can add customized tags that way.
Yeah, and I think also probably Jenny wanted to know if she can add as many tags as well from the settings. So they're not preloaded in the system. These are customized tags that you can add as many as you'd like. There are only 2 system tags. There are awaiting classification and ongoing tag that cannot be deleted. However, the rest of the tags are all customized and they're all added by the user, and they can also be deleted as well. And as just Stephanie indicated, once you want to select these tags to your references, you need to select one of these references, let's say one or more, and then the tag button will appear for you to actually select the tag. And Stephanie, there was a second question about, is it possible to allocate batches of references to different reviewers? Example, 200 to reviewer 1, another 200 to reviewer 2.
Yeah, so we don't recommend allocating batches, and it's not possible to assign batches to reviewers, but you can track your work under team settings. Go back there. Under settings, then team settings, you can view how many you have screened. So this way it provides a randomization, so one batch of studies don't get a vastly different set of voting than others. So this provides a nice randomization to your study.
Yes. And there was one last question as well that I think I've sent the response to you now again, but just to also make sure that you receive the response, is if you can export a list of your included references, let's say, or your title and abstract or full text screening list, another data extraction data. And this is, yes, possible from the export to file option. So you'll see here from references where Lindia is actually referring to. So in the reference sections, you can select title, abstract, and list from your review, and then select CSV format or EndNote, Mendeley, RefWorks, or Zeta. They all produce an RIS formatted file, text formatted file that you can also import into Reference Manager or any other software as well that you'd like your references to be. So these are like export options format. So yeah, this is possible as well from the export functional on the references. Thank you, Stephanie. And we have also, Delindia, one more question. For upload history, will I be able to find out which references were uploaded at what time and date?
Absolutely.
Do you want to take that? Yeah.
Yes, actually, if you go under import, we'll start at import and select import history. That information is provided here with the date. If it were a particular database, it would be located here, and the references that successfully uploaded as well as the duplicates. And as you can see, these are our latest changes. And Here you can see within this example, that's most recently showing the database now. So this is one of our newest features. So this information is a cool way of tracking all of your information.
Yes, so we can see the date when the references are reported and even the actual which database, as Linda indicated, the actual references came from, all from the import history page. And Linda, only one last question we have actually just came through now. So the question is it possible to do a grade quality check automatically? So I think you're referring to the grade, which is also for the assessment. Covidence doesn't have the grade to assess the grade in Covidence itself, but what you can only do is data extraction and assessing the quality of your studies, and this means which is actually part of the assessing the grade as well of your references in your systematic review. So part that we support from